a one-run ball game with Tyler Duncan at third, and Luis Bernardo is the man coming, or pardon me, it's Dennis DeBannon coming up with Luis Bernardo on deck.
Coming in, I'm not sure. Yep, that is Adam Mara, number 32. He'll be the pitcher of record now. All three Mara brothers into the ball game for the second night in a row.
For me, that time I was actually quite nervous. When I got on for as I was running in, I was like, oh my God, it's a one-run ball game. I gotta get this done, run around third.
Mara delivers, DeBannon turns it, and Benicio runs the over the ground.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he did get a hold of it, but it was right at a guy. And sometimes when you come in and throw strikes right away, good things happen.
Bernardo slaps this one into left, and underneath it is Carrington for one away. Adam Mara delivers. Ripple gets underneath it, but it's going to be skied. Jose Benicio getting under it, and it's two away. Underwood was on a little too far out. Didn't take a hack at him, but now he's down 0-2. He'll have to swing at anything close here. As the Cardinals down their last run. Mara delivers. Underwood sends it deep into left field. It's not going to have enough. Carrington gets underneath it, and the Toronto Maple Leafs win a wild ball game at Bernie Harper Stadium.
Adam, this is an important month for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You've got a ton of games because of all the rainouts, and you're battling for home field advantage in the playoffs. Is that something that's important for you, getting that home field advantage in the playoffs?
Absolutely. Those that have played at the pits know that this ballpark is part of the team at this point. It's very tough to come to the pits. It's sort of, if you never played here before, it's sort of an offsetting feel because the fans are so close, and it definitely plays in our favor. Well, not all the time, but for the most part. And so we're used to it. Obviously, our record kind of reflects that we play a lot better at home. And so, especially coming into the end of the season, we got two big games against Guelph and we're going to try and win those games because we are looking for that home field advantage. It's quite a significant advantage, at least especially for us.
Hey everyone, welcome to Leafs Weekly episode 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. So Adam Mara has come up in some big situations for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. He has 5 career saves in his Intercounty Baseball League career. 3 of them have come this season. That one in a big scenario, I can think back to opening day where he saved that 5-4 game on the very first game of the season for the Toronto Maple Leafs against the London Majors. That was a huge spot that he came into to get the clean save in the 9th inning. And then this one, if there's ever a pressure situation, it's when the Toronto Maple Leafs were up 10-3 at one point. They end up blowing the lead and it becomes 11-10. And then your job is to stop the bleeding with a runner on third base and 2 outs, and that runner on third is the tying run. And as Adam Mara said, a little bit nervous coming to that situation, but the nerves did not get to him, and he gets a big 4-out save. And that was part of a 4-game and 4-day stretch for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I talked to a lot of players about this, and they said they don't remember the last time that they had to play 4 games in 4 days. Sometimes you say the 3 games in 3 days with the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. But this was the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then they have another game just a day after 1 day of off day. And as you're watching this, that game's probably going on right now. That's the Tuesday game against the Kitchener Panthers. So big save for Adam Mara. Now, we heard him talk about how home field advantage is something that's really important to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Right now, they're battling for that home field advantage with the Guelph Royals. The Leafs have 1 game in hand, and they're also 2.5 games up on the Guelph Royals in the standings. That's for the 4th place spot. It seems at this point that the Barrie Bay Cats in that 3rd place spot may be unreachable. I think the Maple Leafs would have to win out. I'm not even sure if that's mathematically possible as it stands right now. But the Leafs will want to keep winning down the stretch because the Guelph Royals have been hot of late. So they're going to probably have to win a couple games to secure that home field advantage. And there's a lot of games coming up for the Maple Leafs. They had a huge stretch of 13 games in just 20 days in the month of August. That last game of the 4-4, after the Maple Leafs had lost 2 of their first 3 in that 4-game stretch, was against the Brantford Red Sox. They would need a big showing to come away with a successful 2-2 over that 4-game stretch. Jose Vinicio doesn't seem to care much about what pitch he gets. This time it's a breaking ball. He hits it pretty well. This one's deep towards center field, and it is gone! 3-run home run for Jose Vinicio as he just clears the wall.
Wilson off the bench is coming over to play first.
Down the line again, and that one's a fair ball from John Salazzo. 1 run is in to score. Salazzo hits one in the air, high and deep. Is it going to stay fair? Yes, it is. A home run. John Salazzo is now tied for the IBL lead in home runs with 14. The Toronto Maple Leafs ended up winning that game 17-2 over what seemed like a bit of a shorthanded Brantford Red Sox team, but good to see the offense really starting to click here down the stretch for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, you saw John Salazzo. He had a big day. He ended up with the home run. He had 4 RBIs. He has 46 RBIs on the season, and as it stands right now, as I'm recording this, John Salazzo is tied for the IBL lead in home runs. He has 14, and he's tied with Tyler Duncan. Now, John Salazzo, you know his story if you've been watching Leafs Weekly, with him being a conductor and playing in the Intercounty Baseball League at the same time. In fact, well, it's his nickname, so you might just know it from that as well. But we had a team of students: Chris Lazar, Thomas Sherratt, Jacob White, Spencer Kloss, and Shaylin Winters went a little more in-depth on the story of John Salazzo, and I had an opportunity to talk to Chris Lazar of the Inside Intercounty podcast, as well as his experience pitching in the Intercounty Baseball Leagues for both the Hamilton Cardinals and the Welland Jackfish last year. Here's my conversation about the documentary that's coming out very soon called John Salazzo, The Conductor. Here's Chris Lazar. Just off the top, I want to get, what are your impressions of being able to, get up close and personal with John Salazzo, and what did you learn about this IBL legend?
Yeah, it was an interesting process. First of all, I want to say thank you to John for agreeing to do this. He was a great sport about it the entire time. I'll get into that a little bit more in a bit here, but yeah, no, he's a great guy. I think everybody in the league is really fond of John, and everyone kind of, when you talk about the prototypical IBL player, he's generally the guy that people use as the example, right? Like he's one of those, for lack of a better term, OGs in the league that's been around for a really long time, who personifies exactly what it means to be a player in the IBL, the working man's league. And John is the epitome of that, right? Working at CN Rail after games, having to leave midway through games sometimes, being on the phone in the 7th inning with his boss to see if he can hang out for a bit longer. Like all of these things, he's the prototypical guy, right? He's the perfect subject for something like this, where we're trying to showcase not just the story of John Salazzo, but also kind of using him as a bit of an example to what IBL players deal with on a daily basis to play at such a high level. And yeah, in terms of John, it was really interesting. He's a friendly giant. We'll put it that way. He's a very large man, but he's one of the nicest dudes that I've ever come across. As I said, he was super accommodating to us. He was all in from the moment that I mentioned it to him. So again, I can't thank him enough for his contributions to this and for agreeing to kind of let us into his life a little bit for the last couple of weeks.
So you got to follow John Salazzo around in his personal life. A lot of us aren't up at those hours of the night. So can you give us some insight on what John Salazzo is like when he's not on the baseball diamond, and maybe what was one of your favorite moments in the making of this doc?
Yeah, so you will see a clip of him at work. I will preface this by saying that we didn't record that footage. I wasn't going to send one of our people out to the railroads at 2 a.m. to hang out with John all night. But he was one of his coworkers was kind enough to take a video for him and kind of show us what he does. But we did go to his house before the game against Barrie a couple weeks ago, and we were at his house early, and we spoke to him for about an hour there, just kind of catching up. Me and him haven't actually seen each other in person in a long time, so we were catching up. But it was cool, like his backyard. He's got this whole like I don't even know what to call it. It's not like a man cave, but it's like this little hut that he has where it's got like heaters and everything. And he said like in the winter, like some of the boys will come over and they'll have some drinks and just like watch hockey and in that little hut, or in the summer they'll watch baseball or whatnot. Like he's got a whole setup, and then he's got this little jungle gym for his cat that's also there. So it's yeah, he's an interesting guy. He's got a lot going on. It's quite the setup. If you've I don't know if you've ever seen it, but if you ever get the chance to go over there, it's quite he's got a lot going on in his backyard. So that was just cool seeing that curtain peeled back a little bit.
Yeah, and we don't get to see this kind of content in the Intercounty Baseball League very often. It's really a rarity to kind of see content like this. What are you most excited about for the people that are going to watch this, that they're going to get to experience about the IBL?
Yeah, it's kind of along the same reason that I've been doing a lot of stuff for the league this year, since obviously I can't play. I'm like, what can I do to give back a little bit, and to kind of shine the spotlight on guys that I feel like really deserve it, that haven't had it shone on them very often. And again, because yes, obviously we're doing a doc on Salazzo, but as I said, he's a representation of all of the local people that play in the IBL. I know we did an interview on my podcast with Byron Reichstein at the start of the year, and he mentioned that he works in a factory. Salazzo obviously works at CN Rail. You got Justin Mara, I believe that he works. He's a paramedic or something like that. So like everybody's kind of coming from different walks of life, but they all have one thing in common, and it's that everybody in the IBL loves baseball and will go to a great extent to be able to play in the league. And yeah, I'm just excited to showcase what this league is and how unique it is, and help people understand, because what's interesting is a lot of people don't think that the IBL is necessarily like that high quality baseball. They think of it as like a beer league almost. And like I actually had a couple of my classmates. I had one of my classmates who was actually helping me on the dock before we started. He thought this was a beer league, and he's like, "Oh, like we're gonna go and watch his like beer league game or whatever." I was like, "No. There's gonna be like hundreds of people here watching this game." And like the guy that's pitching here, he pitched in AA for the Cubs. That catcher, he got drafted by the Cubs. Like all these guys have played at such a high level, and it was really eye-opening experience for them too. So I just want people to realize that from both sides, right? The people that don't think it's as great baseball, to see that no, like it's really high quality baseball, even if it's just working men. And then also the people that think of it as a professional league, who get to see the other side of it, the side of it where this isn't John Salazzo's full-time gig. This isn't what he does to pay the bills, so to speak. This is secondary to him, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't care about it, right? Obviously, John's very, very passionate about baseball, as we all are in the league. So I'm just excited to showcase kind of all of those different angles, and yeah, peel back the curtain a little bit. And yeah, just do something that, as you said, just doesn't really get done in this league very often. It's a pretty neat experience.
Yeah, if you think the Intercounty Baseball League's a beer league, just go check Baseball Reference. Chris, we can't wait to watch this doc. It comes out on August 18th on the Toronto Maple Leafs YouTube channel, and thanks so much for chatting with me.
Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so thanks to Chris Lazar for chatting with me about this cool documentary. I've had a little bit of a sneak peek at what this documentary is going to look like, and I'm excited for everyone to be able to watch it this Friday. It looks like there's some really good insight into it, and it's not only a great representation of John Salazzo, but it's a good representation of the Intercounty Baseball League, and there are a lot of really cool stories, which I think is what Chris Lazar and his team were trying to get across. From the Intercounty Baseball League. Well, this is probably the last regular season episode of Leafs Weekly, so thanks for everyone who tuned in during the regular season, and we'll be right back with this show in the playoffs, so we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. All right, joined by Sam Green here. Sam, an important last couple games of the season here. This one against Guelph, and this will determine the tiebreaker and maybe home field advantage for a team that you might play in the first round of the playoffs. How big is this game today?
Yeah, it's a big one. Obviously, as our kind of record has shown, we're a little more comfortable at home, but come playoff time, I think we'll be confident that wherever we're playing and whoever we're playing, that we can beat them. So it's always nice to start at home and get 3 out of 5 at home if it goes that deep. And we're going to try our best to win today and do that. But again, we'll roll into the playoffs confident regardless.
I know there's a lot of guys in the locker room that like playing at Dominico Field, and if there's ever a place that has home field advantage, maybe not for you as a pitcher, but for the batters here, it is. Is that something that you find, and is there a vibe in the locker room that that's something you want to do, get home field advantage?
Yeah, I mean, especially during the regular season, it's tough to go on the road. Guys are working all day, try to get off from work early. Not everybody's there all the time, but at home we're kind of here early. We're getting our work in at BP. The fans here are awesome, tough on the other team. Yeah, it's not necessarily pitcher's park, but I still love pitching here. Yeah, it's a different kind of confidence when we're playing here. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Sam.
Yeah, of course, man.
You get that home field advantage in the playoffs.
First pitch is hit on the ground by Ashton Patterson. He's retired for out number 1. Dan Procopio is on the mound for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Procopio has been on a hot streak of late. Really, in the last half of the season, he's really turned things around.
Yeah, he's turned into one of the most consistent arms there for the Maple Leafs. And he's just a guy that, you see him go out day in and day out, and he just does really, really well.
Ethan Hammond is the number 2 hitter this afternoon for Guelph. Behind on the count 0-1, and then takes over the outside corner, strike 2. Ethan Hammond hitting .305 on the season. 0 for 3 last game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. He had a couple of strikeouts. Here's the 0-2. And it's way up and away. Procopio's 2-2. And this one's fouled straight back. So we had a couple audio issues right off the top there, but we were mentioning this is a big game for the Toronto Maple Leafs because of what happened last night. The Maple Leafs falling 4-2 to the Guelph Royals, and that made things very interesting in the IBL standings. The Guelph Royals just half a game behind the Maple Leafs. 2-2, this one's fouled off again. Ethan Hammond making Dan Procopio work here in the top of the first. If the Guelph Royals win today, temporarily they would be ahead of the Toronto Maple Leafs in the standings by half a game. And they would also have the season tiebreaker against the Maple Leafs as well.
And like you mentioned, this is the battle for 4th place. So, and you want to finish in the top 4. You finish in the top 4, you're guaranteed at least home field advantage for one of the rounds in the playoffs, which is a big deal. And it's a big deal for the boys here in white. You know, they play so well here at the pits.
Outside ball 4, so from down 0-2, Ethan Hammond fouls off a couple pitches and eventually works the walk against Dan Procopio. That was a long at-bat, and it ends at a runner on first base for the Guelph Royals. So Guelph, ever since the trade deadline, has been fantastic, and that has continued in their last 10 games as well, with the win last night, 10-3 in their last 10. If they won today, they would have won 4 of the 6 games against the Maple Leafs this season. Josh Garton takes outside. The reason that the Maple Leafs would end up having the tiebreaker against the Guelph Royals if the Leafs won today is because they have more runs in the 6 games that they played against the Guelph Royals this season. Throw down to second base by Justin Mara is in time. They got him. Oh, Justin Mara from his knees throws out Ethan Hammond for the second out.
Yeah, and a fantastic throw right there by Mara from behind the plate. But you also got to give credit to Jose Vinicio at shortstop for getting that tag down. It was a little bit high towards the second base side, but Vinicio still was able to get the tag and hit it.
Justin Mara has hit to a batting average of about .275 this season with 10 home runs. Pretty good offensive numbers. Admittedly not his best season in the IBL as Josh Garton fouls that one off. Josh Garton, a ton of power here at the plate. Strike 3 called over the outside corner, so Dan Procopio surrenders a walk. He gets a little help from his catcher behind the plate, Dan Mara. And in the end, it's a 1-2-3 inning. Dan Procopio and the Maple Leafs head to the bottom of the first inning, tied 0-0. Well, you've been having these 3 great starts on the mound for the Maple Leafs, so it sparked me to have a lot of conversations about you to your teammates as well. And a lot of the time when we talk about you, they say, yeah, this guy kind of came out of nowhere last year and just kind of inserted himself in the Intercounty Baseball League. We know that's not the case. You didn't come out of nowhere. What's your background in baseball, and where did Sam Green come out of coming into the IBL?
I mean, I kind of did come out of nowhere. I grew up in the States, played travel and high school ball there. But my mom's side of the family's Quebecois. So I ended up going to school in Montreal. I went to McGill, good baseball program there. And that's kind of where I, got a lot better as a pitcher, started throwing a lot harder, started getting better command. I played in, college summer leagues out in Quebec for a few seasons, and then played with some guys over there. They're like, hey, you're moving to Toronto, like there's a great league, the Intercounty. And I'd heard about it before. I had some good buddies with me that played in McGill. They played here too, or not for Toronto, but London or Kitchener or different teams. They're like, hey, there's a team right downtown Toronto, like you should, reach out to their coach. So I reached out to Topley in the winter of, before the 2022 season. I'm like, hey, here's some video of me. Well, he asked the same question you did. Where'd you come from? Like, where'd you play? I was like, well, I haven't really played anywhere super high, high level, but would love to come and throw a bullpen for you and see, see what you think. And just looking for a spot to pitch this summer. And couldn't be happier with where I ended up. Like, the Leafs are an incredible team, surrounded by an awesome team. So, like I said, got bit by it last summer. I was like, I need to get better and kind of prove myself even more this year. So it's been a fun ride.
Jose Vinicio leading things off for the Toronto Maple Leafs on a 31-game on-base streak. Jose Vinicio and a 20-game hit streak. The Maple Leafs only had 4 hits in last night's contest in Guelph. Jose Vinicio had 2 of them. and squaring to bunt, but I think just taking a pitch to see Brandon Deans, who's on the mound for the Guelph Royals. Brandon Deans, a member of Oakland University Golden Grizzlies. Hard-throwing righty on the mound for the Guelph Royals.
Last year pitching in the OCAA for the Humber Hawks.
Benicio battling here. The count's 1-2. He's fouled a couple pitches off here from Brandon Deans, and he's fouled him straight back, so he might have the timing here on Deans. Benicio with 5 home runs this season, most of them coming in the second half as he takes up and away. Jose Benicio showed a lot of bat-to-ball skills and a good batting average early in the season as he fouls one off again. But that batting average has only got better, and the power numbers have started to come up for Jose Benicio. He's driving in runs, he's hitting homers, he's hitting doubles, led off the game with a double last night. And he's battling here, and that's exactly what you want from your leadoff hitter, making Brandon Deans work on the mound. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Benicio hits one on the ground, scooped up at second base, and a flip to first in plenty of time to get Jose Benicio. So the Maple Leafs lineup this afternoon goes Jose Benicio, then Justin Mara at catcher. Jordan Castaldo playing first base. Garrett Takamatsu is the DH, took a hit by pitch off the knee, but appeared to be okay, so he's getting the DH job this afternoon. John Salazzo is at third base, Dan Mara at second, Jesse Hodges in left, Greg Carrington in right field, and Connor Lewis batting ninth is playing center field. Justin Mara takes a first pitch for a strike. Justin Mara had a heck of a throw down to second base from his knees to throw out Ethan Hammond. That pitch is up and away.
And you mentioned it earlier, Justin Mara not having his typical year at the plate that we've seen, but he's still doing a lot defensively and play calling wise.
This one's going to get through for a base hit for Justin Mara. Pulls the ball on the ground and gets rewarded. 1 on with 1 out here for the Maple Leafs.
And it'll bring up another man that's had a really good season so far, really big bounce back season in Jordan Castaldo. You see it right there. Jordan Castaldo has reached base on 22 straight games after reaching on a walk last night.
John Salazzo leads the Inter-County Baseball League in on-base percentage. Jordan Castaldo is third in that department in the Inter-County Baseball League. He has an OBP of 466 this season.
Yeah, he's been pretty good, to say the least.
Takes the first pitch for a ball. A lot of that on-base percentage comes from Jordan Castaldo's walks. This one's hitting the air pretty well, but it's going to hang up, and the outfielders collide in the outfield. Where's the ball? I think the catch was made, but that was a hard collision between Ashton Patterson and Ethan Hammond in the outfield. Neither went to the ground, but that was a jarring blow between the outfielders.
They both look to be okay. Just a little shaken up on the contact. Hopefully, all that happened was they just got the wind knocked out of them.
I'm not even sure which one of them ended up catching the ball there.
I believe it was the right fielder.
So I guess Ethan Hammond got it. That's incredible that Ethan Hammond was able to hold on to that baseball after taking that kind of an impact. And that is the last thing that you want to see between teams looking to make a playoff run. And that's a good sign for the Guelph Royals that both players appear to be okay. That's going to bring Garrett Takamatsu to the plate now, 1 on with 2 outs. Justin Mara at first base. Ethan Hammond not only had to hold on to the ball in that situation, he also had to keep his composure because there was a situation that Justin Mara could have tagged up and ran to second base had there been a player down or a player unable to throw the ball back in quickly. 0-1 swing and a miss. Well behind the fastball there was Garrett Takamatsu. See that coming in at just under 90 miles an hour, which we expect that kind of velocity from Brandon Deans. Could even touch in the 90s.
Yeah, he hit 91 already today.
Takamatsu hard down the line. That one's foul, just foul, down the left field line.
And this past year in the OCAA for the colleges, Brandon Deans actually did set the OCAA strikeout record for baseball, surpassing the record held by St. Clair Saint Kyle Breitner back in 2013-14.
Takamatsu swings and misses at the high heat. Brandon Deans got him and has a pretty good first inning of work, still tied at zeros between Toronto and Guelph. Malik Collymore hit a home run last night, and it was a big one for the Guelph Royals. He's going to lead off this inning, facing Dan Procopio. Malik Collymore is hitting .250 on the season for the Royals. Here's the 1-0 from Procopio. Up and in, 2-0. Dan Procopio misses outside now, 3-0 on Malik Collymore. The Guelph Royals don't have any hitters that have more than 3 home runs this season. Josh Garton leads the team. He's the one with 3, as Procopio finds the top of the strike zone. They've hit 17 home runs as a team, and I don't think that's so much a knock on the power that this Guelph Royals team has. It's that the power alleys in Guelph are .395. And that's where a lot of hitters like to hit home runs. Down the line, 325, that's reachable. But that kind of corner in the outfield is tough to reach, as that one was outside to Malik Collymore, so there's a runner on first base for the Royals. So don't be fooled by the low power numbers, I guess what I'm trying to get across from the Guelph Royals.
Man, that power alley is no joke.
Runner on for Procopio. Finds the strike zone to Claudio Custodio, the shortstop, and who many are calling the Shohei Ohtani of the Intercounty Baseball League. Position player and also one of the best pitchers in the IBL. See that throw over to first base there? Malik Collymore was leaning towards second base when Dan Procopio tossed over.
And you'd think, you know, the runners wouldn't be leaning that much. Already seeing Justin Mara throw one out. Now just checking out, you know, how the season has gone, even recently for Dan Procopio. In his last 6 games, he's been touched up for over 2 runs only once. Now, can you guess which team that was that did that?
2 runs?
Over 2 runs.
Is this going to be like a trick question?
Nope. In his last 6, he's given up a total of 6 runs, but only one team has scored multiple. Every other team has scored only 1.
Kitchener.
It was the Brantford Red Sox.
Yeah, I was going to guess that. I knew it was going to be a trick question, yeah.
Yep, on July 23rd, he went 5 innings, allowing 3 earned runs against the Brantford Red Sox. Every other time, it's 1 run against Hamilton, both times, and 1 run against London.
Collymore going, good throw, but it's not in time. On the play, Claudio Custodio strikes out. So there's a runner on second base. I'm laughing because Claudio Custodio, I believe, is using Jeff McLeod's bat, because he just handed it off on his way back to the on-deck circle. Or maybe Jeff McLeod is using Claudio Custodio's bat, as this one's a little chopper. Could be a tough play for Jose Vinicio, who picks it up quickly, throws to first for the second out. But with one of those 2 players being a pitcher, you'd think that the latter is most likely. Jeff McLeod is retired on 1 pitch, and now here's Chris Robinson.
It's like back in the old House League days where everyone just used the same 3 bats on the team.
Yeah. Until one guy broke that one bat. Except I guess they were metal bats in House League, so it wasn't as big a deal.
You have to be really, really strong in House League, but you can still break them.
I guess I kind of just outed myself that I was still using other people's bats and people were using my bats when I was playing rep baseball. 0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. I remember having a nice, and I know that people will roast me for this, but I remember having a really nice ash bat that I really liked using. I really liked using the ash.
That's what I started too.
But I remember someone used my bat, and you know how you hold ash bats the wrong way? They break a lot easier. Well, I forgot to tell him that before he went to the plate. Broke it on a curveball.
Ooh.
But, I mean, if you hold the ash bat with the seams of the wood the wrong way, that bat breaks instantly.
I remember my first wood bat was, I want to say a Marucci, the McCutcheon one.
Yeah.
That was the one I rocked with.
0-1. Up high.
Was absolutely devastated when I broke that.
Yeah.
I think I was hitting like 300 with it, and then one soft change up inside, and it just went gone.
Here's the 1-2 to Robinson. Swing and a miss. Foul tipped into the glove of Justin Mara. Another strikeout for Dan Procopio, and he gets through another scoreless inning. It's 0-0 after 1.5 here in Toronto. But I want to touch on as well We talked to John Salazzo a lot last week, and one of the things we were talking about was John Salazzo's home run streak. He had 4 games in a row where he hit a home run, and he hit all of those home runs with the same bat. And then that bat, as John said, it died a hero, but not happy to have broken that bat that had 4 home runs in a row. Take a listen. John, you had a home run streak going a couple games ago, and then you break the bat that you hit the home runs with. How did that feel when that happened?
You know, it died a hero. Got a single, 2 RBIs, but in my head, I'm like, that's my bat, that's my hot bat. But you know what? Just gotta start a new streak and with a new bat. So.
Oh, welcome back. There you see John Salazzo having a monster season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Boy, has he ever been good in the MVP conversation in the Intercounty Baseball League this year. John Salazzo, all of those stats, but leading the Intercounty Baseball League in OPS and on-base percentage to add on to that as well. Add all those together, John Salazzo has an OPS of 1.221. Monster number.
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Tack on a on-base percentage of 497. If he has a good day today, his on-base percentage will be over 500 on the season.
I think the scary thing about John Salazzo and his approach at the plate is that we all know his power can kill you, but he is also so smart when it comes to, swinging up balls and strikes.
He pops this one up towards third, and the catch is made. 1 pitch, and Salazzo is retired. John Salazzo will be frustrated that ball didn't get out of play. He didn't put much of a swing on it, just kind of fouled it towards third base, and there was Malik Collymore to catch the weak pop-up. Dan Mara will stand in for the Maple Leafs, batting .331 on the season.
New top of the day right there, 92 coming out of the hand of Deans.
Got some heat outside. This favors Dan Mara, though. He can handle the heat. Yeah, there we go, 92 again on the fastball. Dan Mara loves to hit the ball the other way, though, so he wouldn't mind being a little bit late on one of these Brandon Dean's fastballs. Mara goes the other way, but this one's an easy ground ball to second base. Flipped to first by Darius Barlas for the first out. That's out number 2 for the Maple Leafs, John Salazzo. Popping up on 1 pitch. Yeah, that was the breaking ball, I think, there from Brandon Deans. And Dan Mara will probably be fine with that. He'd like to make a little bit more contact, but he was just trying to find a hole going the other way. Jesse Hodges bats now for the Toronto Maple Leafs as he fouls the first pitch off. Jesse Hodges is hitting just .207 this year, but with the resume that Jesse Hodges comes in with, you'd think that he's going to be an impact player at some point or another for the Maple Leafs. And we've seen him have some really good defense in the outfield. We saw him have some really good defense at third base as well this year. This pitch is just outside.
Yeah, we've seen him do a little bit of everything, defense at third, defense in the outfield. We saw him pitch.
2-1. Jesse Hodges hasn't got a chance to play a ton this year. Just 58 at-bats.
We all know about the crazy pop he has in his bat.
Yeah, and he has a huge arm as well wherever he's playing. Check swing foul back to the mound. Jesse Hodges doesn't even need to run to first base. He didn't mean to hit it, and he's shaking out his hand after that one as well. Brandon Deans gets through a couple tough batters on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Both pitchers rolling, Deans and Dan Procopio, who's coming out to pitch now in the third. Now, we talked to Jesse Hodges. We know he has a fantastic arm with that throw we saw from the outfield from left field. He has pitched a little bit, and I know you're wondering about how this pitching transition is going for Jesse Hodges. So let's look at the three main things that I got to talk to Jesse Hodges about. Can he bring it? Does he throw hard? And does he have a decent curveball? Jesse?
I always told myself if I couldn't make it as a hitter, I'd pitch. And I always knew I could pitch a little bit, so I'm just going to get on the mound and bring it. I throw hard and got a decent curveball, so let's see what happens.
Beauty. Thank you, Jesse. Here's Dan Procopio back out for the third inning. He's going to face Brandon Keys. His first pitch is outside, ball one. Brandon Keys hitting .231 on the season for the Royals. Outside, ball two. This was an issue for Dan Procopio in the second inning. Fell behind Malik Collymore 3-0. Procopio trying to have a different fate here in the top of the third, although he did get out of that situation. There's a strike right down the middle. Went to the off-speed pitch that time. 2-1. Little ball lofted into left field for Brandon Keys. That one gets down for a base hit. Nice piece of hitting there on an outside breaking ball. Brandon Keys is on to lead off the inning.
And really, that's what you just have to do against Dan Procopio, is just try to get these soft singles, get these hits going, get on base against him.
Beautiful afternoon at Christie Pitts. Darius Bartless squares to bunt. This is the second baseman for the Guelph Royals. Interesting just looking at the radar gun there. This has been a lot of breaking balls for Dan Procopio. As here's the 1-0. That one probably a fastball. Looked like a fastball on the outside corner there that missed. Dan Procopio might be struggling just a little bit with that fastball location here early on. 2-0. Down the middle for a strike. Bartless clearly just trying to move this runner over here at first base. And he's going to loft one into the outfield. Jesse Hodges going back on it and makes the catch. Turned around a couple times, but makes the catch in the end and fires a cannon into second base to Dan Mara.
And like you heard in the clip in the intermission right there, Jesse Hodges, well, he can bring it.
Oh, is that the one you played? Yeah. Great character off the field as well. Rob Vona, the guy who writes our articles, and I go down after the games, and every now and then we'll get an interview with Jesse Hodges, and he's a hoot to talk to. No question about it.
Never a disappointment.
Yeah. Professional, but genuine and pretty funny as well. Oh, there's Patterson, the leadoff hitter for the Guelph Royals. Procopio falls behind 0-2, and now it's, or 2-0, and now it's 3-0. Ashton Patterson has had just 27 at-bats for the Guelph Royals this season, with an average of 179. There's a strike. Dan Procopio now has thrown 21 strikes but 19 balls. 3-1. Outside ball 4. 2 on here for the Guelph Royals in the top of the third. Ethan Hammond walked in his last at-bat and then was thrown out at second base by Justin Mara trying to steal. And he lines one towards center field. Jesse Hodges coming over, he dives and he makes the catch, and they're gonna double him off. The play at second base, Jesse Hodges with a diving catch in the outfield continues to dazzle with the defense and gets Dan Procopio out of a jam. To the bottom of the third we go, still 0-0 between Guelph and Toronto. So you're looking at that stat there on your screen. That's incredible numbers. This dates back to 2017 when Dan Procopio was pitching in the IBL. But what a record for the Toronto Maple Leafs when Dan Procopio is on the mound. Although he had a little bit of a slow start to the season, 13-2 when this guy's on the mound. 10-2 this year are the Maple Leafs when Dan Procopio starts on Sunday afternoons. Now, some of that might be home field advantage. The Maple Leafs love playing here, and Dan Procopio strictly pitches at home here at Dominico Field, but things have gone well when Dan Procopio is on the mound. Chopper by Carrington. Tough play at second base, not in time. Greg Carrington legs it out on an infield single. Dan Procopio is just the kind of guy that goes out, and he's the definition of giving your team a chance to win.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see out of him. And I think the most impressive thing is that the 2 losses there have only come this year.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
And as it stands right now, the Maple Leafs have a losing record in the IBL standings. 19-20. That one's in the dirt, blocked by Brandon Keys. If anything, you think that the Maple Leafs, if obviously their number 1 goal is to get home field advantage in the playoffs, but if there was a side mission to that, you always want to finish the season above 500. That might be something that the Maple Leafs are pushing for in these next couple games as well. Here's the 1-0. In there for a strike. This is Connor Lewis at the plate. Connor Lewis is playing center field. 44 at-bats for Lewis this season, 11 hits, a .250 batting average. He's driven in 6 runs. 1-1. On the ground to first, and it eats up the first baseman, Josh Garton, and no one's going to have a play. Both runners are safe, and it's first and second for the Maple Leafs with nobody out. And the top of the order is coming up. Here's Jose Vanicio. Remember the power numbers we've been talking about for Jose Vanicio? This is exactly the kind of time when Vanicio thrives in this RBI situation.
Yeah, Jose Vanicio has been very, very good at getting on base. 32-game on-base streak and a 20-game hit streak. So, pretty impressive to say the least.
Vanicio hammers ones towards center field, and it hangs up on a line out there in center for Ashton Patterson. 1 away. Jose Vanicio could not have hit that ball any harder, but it was right at the center fielder, Ashton Patterson. Now the Maple Leafs are going to need a hit with runners in scoring position, and it's up to Justin Mara, who singled in his last at-bat.
And just looking at the radar again here for Deans, it's just been sitting around that 92 to 88 range. He is pumping the fastball.
I think that the Intercounty Baseball League is up in pitching velocity, and I thought it was by a pretty significant number, but by talking to some sources around the Intercounty Baseball League, it's not that significant from what we've been seeing last year. It just seems to be talked about more this year. But 92 miles an hour would be on the upper end of starting pitchers in the Intercounty Baseball League. You're not going to see a ton of guys getting up over 90. One. This one's fouled straight back. And that one went up over the broadcast booth, like almost directly over our head. I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
We talked about this at the start of this season.
Yeah.
That was been the closest one yet.
That's closest, yeah.
Wow. I lost it in the sun. That's why I started cowering under the tent.
1-2. Fouled back again. Justin Mara just kind of tomahawked that high fastball and it went way back over the press box. One, two. Mara takes up high. That was an off-speed pitch from Brandon Deans. It's 2-2. Justin Mara has 10 home runs and 26 RBIs this season in the IBL. 152 at-bats of Maple Leafs backstop. 2-2. Mara lines one into center field and down for a base hit. They're sending Greg Carrington home. The throw is up the line, and Connor Lewis is going to be able to move up. Justin Mara hadn't realized that that throw had gotten away, as that one may have slipped out of the hand of Ashton Patterson in center field. And that's a big extra 90 feet as the Toronto Maple Leafs will lead 1-0, but now they're threatening for more with a runner on third and just one out.
And just a nice piece of hitting right there by Justin Mara. You saw that Deans was just pumping the fastball and threw a couple breaking balls. That last pitch there looked like it was an off-speed pitch. You know, he just stuck the bat out, hit it, and it just drops right in front of the center fielder.
Jordan Castaldo, a good guy to have at the plate with a runner on base. Castaldo has some pop. He also has the ability to just dish a ball into the outfield. This time he has some pop and he crushes it. Left field and it's gone! Jordan Castaldo, a 3-run home run, and the Maple Leafs lead 4-0.
And not only does that extend the lead to 4-0, that extends the on-base streak to 23 games for Jordan Castaldo.
And he touched them all. Jordan Castaldo went with the power swing that time on Brandon Deans. And we've seen him hit a lot of home runs over that short porch going the other way in left field. That's a big swing for the Maple Leafs number 3 hitter. Garrett Takamatsu takes up high. Maple Leafs opening up a 4-0 lead here in the bottom of the third, and that happened really all of a sudden as Garrett Takamatsu bounces one to first base. That'll be the second out. Josh Garton stomps on the bag. Did you see that little handshake that the Leafs have going on in the dugout?
I didn't.
We're gonna have to track that down, what that is. I like it.
I didn't see that.
Well, we'll have to go back and look at it again in the intermission. But it's kind of like a high five, but
Bear claw?
there's also, there's kind of like a bear claw there too.
Interesting.
We're gonna have to track down what that is. That's good stuff.
We gotta start making handshakes up here in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't matter because no one's watching us. Yeah.
We got phone a cam.
Yeah, we restrict its angle of motion though to not be able to get back to us.
I really tried my best to everybody out there.
I didn't wear a collared shirt today, so can't be on camera.
It's understandable.
I mean, we're both in suits. I mean,
head to toe, three-piece suits.
Foul it straight back. John Salazzo on a career year with 14 home runs. That's a career high for him in the Intercounty Baseball League. And also an IBL high, tied for 14 in the IBL lead. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Brandon Deans has a little blip in the third inning and then composes himself and gets a ground out from Garrett Takamatsu and a strikeout on that hard fastball from John Salazzo. The big swing, a 3-run home run by Jordan Castaldo, and it's 4-0 Maple Leafs. Goes, throw down to third base, they got him by a mile. Blake Jacklin is thrown out at third, and that one was a cannon.
Once again, I mean, wow, Justin Mara, phenomenal arm, getting that one down there.
Mara, Castaldo, Salazzo, these are the 3 guys they want up in the lineup. Here's one hit in the air, deep to right field by Justin Mara, and it is gone. A solo home run for Justin Mara, and it's 7-1 Toronto.
And there was no doubt about that one. Hammered off the bat by Mara.
Yeah, at this field, I know, being playing here quite a bit, kind of when you get it. And I kind of had an idea what he was going to throw me a lot of times after a fastball, come back with the slider. I was cheating a little bit early, and I got it out front, so it's good.
Last year, you guys went to the IBL Finals, and you lost 4 of your first 6 games. This year, you've had a really good start. Does this team feel like it might even be better than the team from last year?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the core players are back, which is good to keep that kind of camaraderie with the team. But we did add a lot of depth, which helps a lot, especially in a season where guys are coming from work, and it's a pretty long season as they increase the games. I think that depth helps a lot. If I had to say, I'd say we are a little bit better than last year for sure.
Josh Garton's going to lead things off. It's 4-0 Maple Leafs on a 3-run home run by Jordan Castaldo. Josh Garton has home run potential as well, 3 of them on the year. Big swing on the first pitch. Dan Procopio pumped a fastball by. Garton fouls it straight back at a better cut at that one. In the top of the first inning, the Welland Jackfish are beating the Hamilton Cardinals 5-0. That is important for the Toronto Maple Leafs because it would pretty much put the Hamilton Cardinals out of contention. As this one's hammered by Josh Garton. Does that have enough height? Not quite. It bangs off the top of the wall. Garton makes a big turn around first base, but he's going to have to scamper back. And it's a long single right off the top of the wall from Josh Garton. So this is what Dan Procopio has seen this season. 3 games from Ryan Burnside, 4 games from Justin Mara behind the plate. Both Justin Mara and Ryan Burnside have done a really nice job splitting the catcher load, giving Justin Mara a couple days here and there to be in the DH. Obviously, Justin Mara's played a ton with almost 150 at-bats for the Maple Leafs this season. But how about a replacement in Ryan Burnside at catcher, who also plays in the outfield and pitches, and he's hitting over 330. Not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good to have as a backup.
Malik Collymore at the plate, and he takes outside ball 1. That was an unfortunate circumstance there for Josh Garton. He smashed that ball. It was a couple feet from being a home run, and he ended up with a single. He's on first base. Here's the 1-0 from Dan Procopio. In the dirt, blocked nicely by Justin Mara. Brandon Deans has a hard fastball. We've seen that. Same thing from Dan Procopio. You'll see him in the low 90s for the Maple Leafs. One of the hardest throwers on the team. Yeah, there you go. That fastball at 92 there from Dan Procopio. 2-1. This one's going to hook foul from Malik Collymore. Two. Low and in the dirt from Procopio. Full count. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Out number 1.
And Procopio just so good with his pitch mix right there. Was pumping fastballs nonstop, then goes to that off speed and gets him out way ahead.
Here's the shortstop, Claudio Custodio. Sometimes with those hard throwers, you'll see guys with a 6'5" frame and 200 and something pounds on the mound. Dan Procopio is not small, but he doesn't bring a huge amount of size. He generates that velocity with a great lower half and really good mechanics on the mound. Here's Jeff McLeod. He's got a strike on him and then takes way inside. Nearly hit him. It's 1-1. Sorry, this is Claudio Custodio, the shortstop. One. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Claudio Custodio is not picking up what Dan Procopio is bringing in this at-bat.
And really today, Procopio's only had a couple blips in his outing. Otherwise, he's looked very strong.
The 1-1 is popped up on the infield. John Salazzo runs out of room. It's foul and out of play. Claudio Custodio was way in front of that fastball there from Procopio, who has thrown now 56 pitches in the top of the 4th. Not a bad number if you're a pitcher. One, two. Strike 3 called. He painted it over the outside corner. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Procopio. And there's the bat handoff to Jeff McLeod.
I was keeping my eyes out for that one to see if it was going to happen again, and sure enough.
So 2 outs now with the runner on first base for the fastball from Procopio missed inside. One-0, just missed. 2-0. The Maple Leafs have a little bit more work to do in terms of their roster before this season is done. All the batters I think that the Maple Leafs want to have qualified for playoffs have the amount of innings that they need. 2-0 on the ground, high chopper to John Salazzo. He whips the throw on the money to Jordan Castaldo to end the inning. Dan Procopio gives up a base runner to start the inning, gets 2 strikeouts and a sharp ground ball to third base. Maple Leafs lead 4-0 heading to the bottom of the 4th. Yeah, that right there shows you how much the Toronto Maple Leafs want to be at home in the playoffs. A win today goes a long way towards accomplishing that for the Toronto Maple Leafs. 6-14 on the road are the Maple Leafs. Now, there's a very good chance, even if they do end up in 4th place, that they'll end up playing the Welland Jackfish in the second round, and they'll be on the road. Welland hasn't been very nice to the Maple Leafs this season, as that one's fouled off by Mara. It's 0-2. But there's a home field advantage for this Maple Leafs team, and they know it.
Yeah, and honestly, it really just has been a cruel summer for the boys in blue on the road.
This one's popped up, and the catch is made by Darius Barlas, who had to run a long way for the first out. A look at what's happening out of town right now. The London Majors are beating the Brantford Red Sox 3-2. That won't have a ton of impact on the standings. What will is the Hamilton Cardinals are down 7-1 against the Welland Jackfish. That's good news for the Guelph Royals, because the Hamilton Cardinals are right behind them for 5th place in the standings. And then the game that's even more interesting right now is the Kitchener Panthers are beating the Barrie Baycats 6-0. That game is in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and the implications of that is the Kitchener Panthers will not only move past the Barrie Baycats for 2nd place in the Intercounty Baseball League, they also will have the tiebreaker most likely, if it came down to that. And the Maple Leafs, their last game of the season, or at least it's not confirmed yet, but almost for sure the last game of the season will be against the Kitchener Panthers. And the last thing the Maple Leafs want is to be playing a team, one of the only other teams in the IBL that's playing for something in terms of the standings right at the end of the year, because the Maple Leafs, they will be playing for something, you'd think, on that last game. That one's low and away to Jesse Hodges. It's 2-2. Hodges goes the other way, hits it pretty well, but it's out of play. Hodges battling here, counts 2-2. And he takes up high, full count. Three-two. Up and away, ball 4. Jesse Hodges works a 1-out walk. The best scenario, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, and again, it's just Brandon Dean's just pumping these fastballs. And that one just missing.
A lot of them, and that at bat just missed from Brandon Deans. He's around the strike zone. He has not been wild today. The best scenario for the Toronto Maple Leafs is that they win today, the Guelph Royals end up losing their last game, and the Maple Leafs can play that last game against Kitchener, which is the rainout game that's going to start in the 2nd inning. You know, they can rest some guys or maybe not even play that game. Because the Maple Leafs are going to have to play on probably Wednesday or Thursday, their first playoff game. If not either of those 2 days, pretty soon, because the Tuesday is the last day that you can play a game in the Intercounty Baseball League. Those days are specifically supposed to be 2 days off, but can be used to fill out for rainouts. Ground ball to second. Play made to first by Darius Barlas. He had a look at Jesse Hodges, who was running to second base, but decided just to get the sure out at first. So Greg Carrington grounds out. Connor Lewis will have a runner in scoring position here with 2 away. As it stands right now, the Kitchener Panthers have 2 games in hand on the Barrie Baycats. If the Kitchener Panthers win this game, any Panther win or any Baycats loss the rest of the season will mean the Kitchener Panthers finish in 2nd in the Intercounty Baseball League. And they would be lined up to play the London Majors in the first round. We already know that the Welland Jackfish are going to play the Brantford Red Sox. That playoff schedule has been released as well on both of those teams' social medias. Here's the 1-1, up high. 2-1 to Connor Lewis. Takes outside 3-1. Now Brandon Dean's having a bit of trouble finding the strike zone. He has a walk in the inning. He's throwing 43 strikes and 21 balls this afternoon. Fouled back. Connor Lewis got a pitch he liked there and just missed it.
Again, he went back to the high fastball. Seemed just like the good old bread and butter.
If he can find his way on base, Jose Vinicio is on deck on that 31 game on base streak, and he hit a rocket to center field for a line out in his last at bat. Brandon Deans will likely be in or around the strike zone here. Connor Lewis looking to make some contact. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and he does and fouls it off.
Again, 90 at the top of the zone. Lewis does just a good job to fight it off.
Yeah, that fastball was right on the outer edge. Connor Lewis reached over and got it. Full count. Low, ball 4. Jose Vinicio will come to the plate with a couple on.
And so far today, Jose Vinicio, he's hit the ball hard all over the diamond. He had the line out to center field his last time up in the third.
Brandon Deans comes in with an ERA of 3.14 on the season. 40 strikeouts in 28 innings pitched. Here's a ball hit to center field by Jose Vinicio, but he doesn't quite get enough as it hangs up out there in center field for Ashton Patterson, and that will end the inning. The Maple Leafs get a couple runners on, don't score, but lead 4-0. Delivers, and that one's lined into the outfield. Jose Vinicio does get on base. There goes Jose Vinicio. Throw down to second base is not in time. Vinicio is in there. He got a great jump at first base. Here's a ground ball. It's a chopper, and it gets through. Runner on second base. First pitch. This one's hit into the outfield. It's dropping, and it will fall. There goes the runner. Pitch is hit on the ground, and it finds... Jose, you lead the league in stolen bases this season. When you get on base, how often are you trying to swipe second or third base?
¿Cuántas veces cuando estás en primera base estás pensando robar segunda?
Siempre, depende de la situación del juego, pero siempre estoy pensando llegar a segunda o tercera, ponerme más cómodo para el bateador que está en un play para que me pueda traer la carrera.
So he says pretty much every time he's not only thinking about second, he's also thinking about third base. What he really wants to do is pick up his teammates, make them feel more comfortable, get him an RBI type situation.
I gotta get back to this. Next half gonna go.
One of the reasons that the Toronto Maple Leafs have said that they love playing at home so much is the fans. And there's a key component of the fans right there, the Bushmen down the left field line. They will get a lot of unprompted shout-outs from Maple Leafs players as well. Do some great work out there in the bush. Swing and a miss on the first pitch from Dan Procopio from Chris Robinson.
They get a lot of shout outs from players, but also the
From you.
It's fun.
Inside 1-1.
First thing you told me when it was the season opener, those guys are like celebrities out there.
Yeah, they are. They are. This one's fouled back by Chris Robinson. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Dan Procopio records another strikeout. He has 6 on the afternoon. That's Zach Sloan warming up, the lefty for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Looks like he might be coming in after Dan Procopio here. First pitch to the catcher Keys is upstairs. He might be warming up for a little bit later on though, because if the Maple Leafs were looking at making an immediate change for Dan Procopio, maybe he's on some kind of pitch count. He was last game, battling a little bit of an injury. This would have been the spot. 2 lefties coming up. So I think Dan Procopio still has some gas in the tank. One, two, outside.
Velo for Procopio so far still looking really good, sitting around 90 and 87 with that fastball. That off speed's breaking in the low 80s, sometimes hitting as low as 79.
Yeah, 6 strikeouts today for Dan Procopio. It'll be tough to replicate what his season high was this year. 13 against the Hamilton Cardinals in 5 2/3 innings pitched. On the ground. Mara scoops it up at second base and throws to first. Right now, we've gone through 5 2/3 innings. At this point on that game against the Hamilton Cardinals back in July, he had 13 strikeouts. He has 6 right now.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive, that game.
On the ground to Jose Vinicio. Dan Procopio through 5 innings. The Maple Leafs lead 4-0. Ryan, you've joined the Maple Leafs this year after a year off last year. How happy are you to be back in the Intercounty Baseball League playing for the Leafs?
You know, I love it. I love the guys. I love the camaraderie around the guys. It's a fun place to be for sure. It's good to be home. I like to be playing in Canada.
I know one thing that you take pride in is your speed, and I think a lot of teammates would back up that you are definitely one of the speediest guys on the team. What is it about that speed that you bring to the game that you enjoy so much?
You know, like speed, they say you can't teach speed, right? So like bringing speed to the game is something that like most teams can't prepare for. You can break up a lot of double plays, you can steal bases, take extra 90 feet. So when you're able to bring something that's special to the table, it helps the team win, and that's what I like to be a part of.
Samara leading things off. It's been a labyrinth of a schedule for the Toronto Maple Leafs. 13 games in 21 days in the month of August. And to make it even worse, all of those games are coming right at the end of the season. And guess what? The labyrinth of a schedule keeps on going come playoff time, because the first playoff game for the Maple Leafs, we're not sure when it's going to be yet, but what we do know, it's going to be a quick turnaround into the playoffs after that final regular season game.
Yeah, a lot of baseball's been played this month.
Mara grounds out to first base. Good start for Brandon Deans here in the bottom of the fifth.
And you really just got to hope that these players, they've played so much that they can be able to recover, have enough rest time for the playoffs.
Yeah, the pitching is the thing that you worry about. Sometimes in the playoffs, it's almost good for the batters to kind of play almost every day. They get in their rhythm. I mean, look at the guy you're looking at right there, John Salazzo, sitting out there. He's been hot of late. The guy at the plate as well, Jordan Castaldo, is hot right now. You'd love to enter the playoffs with these guys hitting exactly the way they're hitting right now. So for the hitters, maybe the lack of time off wouldn't be the worst thing. You talk to a veteran about that, though, like the two guys I just mentioned, maybe they'd have a different opinion. 2-0. On the ground, off the glove of Brandon Deans. Jordan Castaldo's hustling to first, and the throw is offline, and it bounces out of play. Jordan Castaldo wasn't even thinking about an extra base, but that hop out of play will give him the 90 feet. He'll be at second base.
And he already extended that on-base streak his last time up. This time, just getting the hit.
Garrett Takamatsu will come up with the runner in scoring position with one out. Jordan Castaldo is not a guarantee to come home on a single, should it be sharply hit. Garrett Takamatsu's been hit by 10 pitches this year in the IBL. He fouls it back. He's a ball magnet. But one of the things that I found with getting hit by pitches is it really does not help your approach at the plate when you know that ball's coming in. When you lead the league in hit by pitches, not the most comfortable feeling in the batter's box.
Not a stat you want to lead.
No.
Especially with how hard some of these guys throw.
I mean, you'll take it for the boys, but but you'd wish it was someone else.
Well, it's the same thing that we see with the other Toronto team here at the Blue Jays, Danny Jansen.
Yeah.
His hands are a magnet.
Yeah. Yeah, with Castaldo, it's his legs. Now he's behind in the count 1-2 after fouling that Brandon Dean's fastball off. Here it comes. Hits in the air. This one's pretty deep towards center field. Back goes Ashton Patterson. He's at the wall, and he makes the catch. Jordan Castaldo's going to tag and advance to third base. Garrett Takamatsu just missed it on that ball to center field.
And that's just a really heads-up play by Jordan Castaldo right there to get back to the base to tag up. You saw the wind was playing a really big factor with that ball. The center fielder was going back and forth. I know the flags aren't showing it right here, but the top of the hill, you can feel it.
Oh, they are. You can see that Canada flag.
Now it is,
center,
yeah.
Those flags are blocked a little bit, I think, when the wind is coming in by both the clubhouse and the trees out there in center field. So if they're moving in, there's probably a little bit more than what it appears. We have a good sense of it up here in the broadcast booth as Salazzo takes upstairs because we have some elevation, and you can tell what that ball is doing 30 feet above the ground. Salazzo takes a strike. It's 2-1.
Yeah, at the top of the hill, you can really feel the wind and the ball. It's elevated so high, even above us, that you know it's going to be affecting it.
That one didn't feel good. John Salazzo just hammered a ball off his foot. John Salazzo probably has about 11 or 12 at-bats left in the season as he fouls this one off towards the left. Between him and Tyler Duncan, who has less games to play this year, it's going to come down to maybe who hits one more home run this season for who gets the IBL home run race, as that one misses outside. Brandon Deans was about 10 feet off the mound. He thought that was strike 3.
Yeah, it might really just come down to that, you know.
John
who hits
Salazzo,
last
though,
homer.
would have the betting odds right now just because he has that game in hand. Hits a high chopper to second base. Darius Barless has it, and he throws to first. And that'll do it. Maple Leafs holding on to a 4-0 lead. They'll have to defend here in the 6th. Well, the Maple Leafs want to keep this one within the 9 innings, as extras have been a problem for the Leafs this season, and they've hit into some unlucky plays as well. The big one, what's the big one you think I'm thinking of?
What could it be? Oh, the triple play?
Yeah, triple play, bases loaded with nobody out for the second time in a row. They failed to score 2 innings in a row, and the second one was a triple play.
That still blows me away to this day. I can't believe we witnessed a triple play.
Yeah. It was the first in Barry Baycat's team history. It had never happened before. And they got it in the 11th inning at a tie ball game.
The 11th inning of a tie ball game after getting out of bases loaded, nobody out.
The inning before, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm just amazed.
Yeah. If the Maple Leafs had won that game, they would be a game and a half up against the Guelph Royals, and the tiebreaker might not even matter. Look back to those 4 extra inning losses, things could look a lot different for the Maple Leafs this season. 3-2 pitch from Zach Sloan, and it's a ground ball to first, but it's foul. Zach Sloan comes into this outing with 20 innings pitched, but an ERA a little bit up there, 11.70. But he is coming in and facing a couple lefties, swing and a miss on a breaking ball. Big 3-2 strikeout of Ashton Patterson.
That's a nice pitch right there by Sloan. We saw him earlier in the season. He had I can't remember fully what game it was, but he came into late, and then he didn't have his stuff. He was just missing on the outside of the plate, and then, you know, didn't look like himself. Right there, that's really good. You know, get that first out in a big moment.
So this is another lefty here. And it's Ethan Hammond. Good way for Zach Sloan to start his outing. Pitches in the dirt. Swing and a miss, strike one. Josh Garton is on deck. He's also a lefty. So this is Zach Sloan's set up for success here on the mound for the Maple Leafs. 2-1. Fly ball. This one's towards left field. Under it is Jesse Hodges, and he makes the catch on the run. That wind might have been carrying that ball a little bit. 2 away. Zach Sloan has pitched a little bit of a lower leverage role than we've seen in the past on the Maple Leafs teams. But if you think back to just a couple years ago, it was Zach Sloan and Justin Cicatello who were really the top 2 starting pitchers on the Toronto Maple Leafs, as Josh Garton pops this one back foul. Josh Garton doesn't just have power to the pull side, he can take one the other way as well. Swings and misses at a pitch in the dirt, and he's behind 0-2. This would be a real big inning for Zach Sloan if he can end things off right here. Swing and a miss, strike 3 on the breaking ball from Zach Sloan. He gets a couple on that nasty hook and gets a 1-2-3 inning. How about that from Zach Sloan? One in the air, high and deep. Is it going to stay fair? Yes, it is. A home run. John Salazzo is now tied for the IBL lead in home runs with 14.
We told him to pull the ball, and that's exactly what he does today. The conductor does it once again.
Dan Mara up to the plate. He's 0 for 2 today. Has hit a couple balls the other way, but neither have dropped in for a hit. Oh, 1. Ahead in the count, 2-0. Justin Mara's hit a ground ball and a pop-out both to the right side. And this time he hits one down the line. Fair ball. This one's down the left field line. Mara is digging for second. Here's the throw. It's not in time as he's in with a slide. Leadoff double for Dan Mara.
And that's the Dan Mara we've been so prone to seeing all year long. He just does a really, really good job getting the ball in play. he has good speed and he can extend it, and that's exactly what he just did right there.
So it brings Jesse Hodges to the plate, who walked in his last at-bat. Jesse Hodges has some power for the Maple Leafs. And he was looking for the long ball there, but missed on that breaking ball in the dirt. That was a good pitch selection there from Brandon Deans. Jesse Hodges was sitting all fastball. And he fouls it back. Oh-2. Hodges hits a high chopper. This is going to be a tough play at third base. What a pick, but no time for Malik Collymore. It's an infield single. Look at Jesse Hodges over there. He loves the hustle down to first base.
It's great speed. Speed kills.
Yeah. Jesse Hodges was hustling out of the box there.
With that high of a hop, that was hard to do anything with it, and you got to tip your cap. Third baseman tried to make a nice play, couldn't get it, but also Dan Marr advancing to third on the play as well. It's very heads-up base running.
Greg Carrington. It's one towards center field. This one's got some juice on it. Catch is made. Runner at third base tags. That's Dan Marra. He's going to score without a throw, and it's 5-0 Maple Leafs. Heck of an at-bat there by Greg Carrington to drive in the run.
That's what you want to do. Generate the run somehow. Do something to extend that lead, especially after Zach Sloan goes out there and gets a 3-up, 3-down inning.
And there's no one warming up in the bullpen, so I think Zach Sloan will have the ball again for the bottom of the 7th, or top of the 7th. Brandon Deans just threw pitch number 90. He is probably running out of gas soon. We've seen some hard hit balls in the inning. He misses up and in. (2-0). Chopped foul. Hit Connor Lewis off the plate. Bottom of the 6th inning, and the Maple Leafs have a commanding but certainly not over lead over the Guelph Royals. It's 5-0. 2-1. Outside. 3-1.
And if there's one thing we've learned on the year about the Guelph Royals is never count them out. They've shown that ever since the trade deadline. They've been the hottest team.
This one's skied in the air by Connor Lewis. In medium depth right field, the catch is made by Ethan Hammond. So a fly out, but it will turn things over back to the top of the order. And Jose Vinicio comes to the plate, and it's getting late. He still has not extended that hit streak yet, and he hasn't gone on base either.
It's a 32-game on-base streak. I have to double-check what date it actually dates back to, but I'm pretty sure it's the 4th game. So shout out.
Runner goes. Jesse Hodges just stole second base.
Look at that speed. Wow.
He got a great jump.
So shout out to Mr. Rob Vona, operator of the Vona Cam right there, for having the information on hand. It was May 28th?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now he's behind in the count 0-2. Benicio takes up and in. Here's the 1-2 from Deans. Benicio hits one on the ground to second base, and he's going to be retired. Doesn't even run to first base, and now the throw to first. That'll do it to end the inning. Benicio 0 for 4 today, but the Maple Leafs lead 5-0 over the Guelph Royals. Welcome back to Dominico Fields. I'm Thomas West alongside Zach Benoit. Top of the 7th inning, Zach Sloan is back on the mound. Pitched a 1-2-3 inning with a couple strikeouts in the 6th. He's going to face Malik Collymore to lead things off.
It was 2 strikeouts on some really nice looking breaking balls.
There's some action in the Guelph Royals bullpen as well. It's Ben Reed warming up. Collymore takes a strike there, so now it's 1-1. And he swings and misses, strike 2. Full count.
And just kind of peering over as well, looking into the Maple Leafs bullpen. Trying to see.
That looks Adam Mara.
I was going to say, I believe that's Adam Mara.
On the ground on the 3-2 pitch, Benicio fields it. Whips to first, 1 away.
The new glasses came in, so it was hard to see the number.
Adam Mara was an integral part of the Maple Leaf stretch they had last week where they had 4 games in 4 days. And the biggest moment was he got a huge save against the Hamilton Cardinals in Hamilton. He needed a 4-out save, and he came in with the tying run on third base in the 8th as that one's up high. And to add on to that, Adam Mara came in that situation, but he also was preserving the game for the Maple Leafs because at one point they led 10-3. At the time, it was 11-10 Maple Leafs, and they held on for the win.
Yeah, seeing that interview clip and just seeing, those highlights come in, what he said, saying, yeah, I was terrified.
Yeah, that one was a little nervous, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You always think these pitchers come into games with this, mentality of like, yo, I'm fine. Like, I'll get out of this, no problem. But for him admitting, that was actually terrifying. It was pretty cool to hear,
3-1. Fouled off. Yeah, I haven't had a ton of opportunity to talk to Adam Morrow. Definitely have not interviewed him before. He was a great interview, yeah, and he gave some really good insight as well. Full count. Upstairs, ball 4. So now Claudio Custodio, who has struggled at the plate today, reaches for the first base runner allowed by Zach Sloan, and it comes with 1 away in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, he took his base, handed off the bat to Jeff McLeod.
Yeah. Is the batting order by design for bat handoffs? Probably not, right? This is a really high chopper. Castaldo fields it, but no one's on first base as Jordan Castaldo tried to make the swipe tag. And in defense to Zach Sloan, I don't think he had any idea how high that chopper really was, because it looked like Jordan Castaldo was just going to tag the runner in the baseline. So Zach Sloan assumed that was what was going to happen, but that's about as high a chopper as you can hit here at Dominico Field.
What are with these high choppers today? We saw one off the bat of Jesse Hodges, and now this one. Those are just 2 plays that we've seen where you just can't do anything about it. You just got to tip your hat to the hitter.
First pitch to Chris Robinson is up and away. It's not like the field is super dry. We've had some rain here in Toronto over the last couple days. But yeah, that dirt is a little hard. Outside ball 2. This is a big inning here for Zach Sloan to try and work out of some trouble. He's fallen behind Chris Robinson, now 3-0. And then he's got a couple lefties coming up in Brandon Keys and Darius Barless. So if he can survive Robinson here, he has the matchup that he likes. And he misses inside ball 4. Chris Robinson, I think, might have thought that was a strike, but now the bases are loaded. And are we going to see another big Adam Mara moment here? Certainly not yet with the 2 lefties coming up. Zach Sloan has the lefty-lefty matchup, so he'll definitely face the next 2 hitters.
All Sloan really needs right now is just a ground ball. He has the defense to get out of it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to retract that statement actually, because Adam Mara is a lefty too, so it might just be a straight pitching change. And Adam Mara is actually even tougher on lefties with that side-winding delivery, so this could be the last batter here for Zach Sloan if he does not record an out. He's going up against the catcher, Brendan Keys. The tying run is in the on-deck circle for the Guelph Royals here in the top of the 7th, and they are threatening with the bases loaded. Brendan Keys is batting .244 this season. That pitch is in the dirt, and Zach Sloan is having some trouble finding the strike zone.
Looks like he's just kind of overthrowing that breaking ball where he's holding on to it too long and it just over snaps into the dirt.
Swing and a miss. That time he snapped it perfectly over the outside corner. It's 2-1. That was 6 consecutive balls. Now he comes back with a strike.
And that's what you want to see right there. He has a really good off-speed pitch, especially against lefties.
Here's a little chopper, and it's going to fall in the outfield. Throw coming home from Jesse Hodges. On the money! He got him! Don't run on Jesse Hodges! He guns the runner at home plate for the 2nd out.
First off, a phenomenal route by number 19 right there in left field, and then unleashes an absolute bullet.
That's not a surprise. People need to stop running on Jesse Hodges. Oh, he has a cannon. One of the best arms in the Intercounty Baseball League anywhere. Pitch is upstairs. That is not the first runner that we've seen Jesse Hodges gun at home plate. And that was not even a routine single into the outfield. Jesse Hodges had to field that like an infielder and throw it to home plate.
There was a moment when he picked it up. He looked up and saw the runner at third and double clutched and unleashed the throw. I'm just so impressed. Wow.
Jesse Hodges hadn't started throwing that baseball until the runner had rounded third base.
He didn't, I think he didn't think the runner was going to go. And once he saw him turn, he just clutched it and unleashed.
So Guelph does get their first run of the ball game, but the Maple Leafs will take an out any day in that scenario over giving up a run. 2-2. Hit in the air to center field, not particularly deep. In comes Connor Lewis. He makes the catch, and the inning is over. Jesse Hodges with one of the throws of the season from the outfield, and he might have just helped his team clinch 4th place in the Intercounty Baseball League. Now, we talked to Jesse Hodges. We know he has a fantastic arm with that throw we saw from the outfield from left field. He has pitched a little bit, and I know you're wondering about how this pitching transition is going for Jesse Hodges. So let's look at the 3 main things that I got to talk to Jesse Hodges about. Can he bring it? Does he throw hard? And does he have a decent curveball? Jesse?
I always told myself if I couldn't make it as a hitter, I'd pitch. And I always knew I could pitch a little bit, so I'm just going to get on the mound and bring it. I throw hard and got a decent curveball, so let's see what happens.
Beauty. Thank you, Jesse. "5-1 Toronto Maple Leafs here in the bottom of the 7th inning as Justin Mara steps to the plate. And remember, this is an impact game in terms of the standings and the tiebreaker between the Guelph Royals. Right now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are just half a game up on Guelph in the IBL standings, as this one's outside. But, although if the Maple Leafs were to hold on and win this game, the teams would be 3-3 against each other. The next tiebreaker is the runs scored, or the run differential in the games that they've played against each other this season. So they aggregate all the runs that each team has scored in the 6 games they played this season. The Maple Leafs, coming into this game, were winning in that department 32-23. And that's in large part to the fact that the Maple Leafs won the first 2 outings of the season against the Guelph Royals. They scored 14 and 12 runs respectively. And then the last 2 have been close wins for Guelph. The last 3 have been close wins for Guelph, actually.
Yeah, I believe one of them came on it was one of the walk-offs in extra innings against Guelph. I think the home plate umpire here just kind of got caught up high with one of those balls in the dirt, just took a bounce.
Yeah, they're giving him a breather. Yeah, might have been right below the neck area there, which...
The one spot with
there's a little hole there, isn't there? Yeah. Two-one. Pitch from Ben Reed is hit on the ground by Justin Mara. Easy flip over to first by Darius Barlis for the first out. Yeah, so the new pitcher into the game is the Hamilton, Ontario native Ben Reed. He's pitched in 11 games this season. That's 18 and a third innings pitched, and he has a sparkling ERA. 1.96 in the 18 and a third from Ben Reed. Now, with that being said, he still has been a little bit volatile in the innings that he's pitched this year. This one's crushed by Jordan Castaldo. See you later. That was a frozen rope over the wall. Maple Leafs lead 6-1.
When Castaldo gets hot, he is red hot. Going both ways. One homer earlier on in the game to left. This one pulled to right field. Castaldo is ready for this playoff push.
Yeah, look at the expression on the face there from Jordan Castaldo. That's a man who is locked in at the plate. He has 2 home runs this afternoon. So Garrett Takamatsu is at the plate. He takes the first pitch in the dirt from Ben Reed. And I would love to say that I called it with that volatile comment there, but that's not what I was talking about. I was saying that there's been a little bit of control issues for Ben Reed. He's walked 21 in the 18 innings he's pitched this season. Ground ball, high chopper up the middle. It hits the lip of the grass and goes over the head of Claudio Custodio, and it's a single for Garrett Takamatsu.
That's Takamatsu's first hit of the day right there.
But walks aside for Ben Reed, he has been really good at getting himself out of jams. So 1 out, John Salazzo at the plate. With the home run by Jordan Castaldo, you can't help but think what's going through the mind of John Salazzo, who I think knows that he's tied for the IBL lead in home runs with Tyler Duncan, who has 14. John Salazzo at some point trying to take the outright lead, and he swings and misses. Big cut, it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 from Reed. Salazzo swings and misses. He went off speed a couple times, and John Salazzo is way in front.
Looks like Reed is also staying on the outside half of the plate here. I'm sure the book is out on Salazzo that anything inside will usually be crushed.
And he swings and misses. Strike 3 went off speed again on John Salazzo, who is clearly hunting the fastball. First strikeout for Ben Reed. Speaking of Tyler Duncan and the Hamilton Cardinals, trailing 15-1 currently against the Welland Jackfish. That one run is not a solo shot by Tyler Duncan, for anyone wondering. So it still is 14-14. between these two top dogs in the IBL home run race. Oh, one is hit pretty well by Dan Mara towards the line. Ethan Hammond makes the catch on the run, and that'll end the inning. But another big swing from Jordan Castaldo. He had the 3-run home run and now a solo shot to put the Maple Leafs up 6-1 over Guelph. Through 5 innings. That one's over the outside corner. Good start. Strike 3. Delivers the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Not stealing a lot of bases. This one's hit on the ground to third base. What a stop by John Salazzo. Throw to second for 1. On to first. What a double play. That pitch is over the inside corner. Strike 3 called for $12. Inside corner, he got him. Strike 3 called. Sam Green gets out of a jam. What a job he did. It's 6-1 Maple Leafs in the top of the 8th as Jordan Castaldo has hit another home run. This one a solo shot. He has 4 RBIs today. And it's Adam Mara, the side-winding lefty, to face Ashton Patterson at the top of the order. Patterson hits a shallow fly ball, and it dinks around up there on the lights over in left field behind home plate. Counts 2-0. Breaking ball just missed outside. You can see how early Ashton Patterson is on this Adam Mara slow breaking ball. As he takes just outside, it's 2-2. And that one's up and in. Full count. Fouled straight back. And that one's outside, ball 4. So Ashton Patterson is going to head down to first base. There's Chris Nagorski warming up in the bullpen for the Toronto Maple Leafs. An ERA of 6.17 this year. Chris Nagorski has had a lot of experience in the Intercounty Baseball League, the all-time saves leader for the Barrie Baycats, now here with the Maple Leafs for the last 2 seasons. Here's the 0-1 to Ethan Hammond, who takes a slow breaking ball in there for a strike. And then this one's popped up on the infield. Dan Mara under it. He makes the catch. Garton pops one up. Jose Vinicio going back. Connor Lewis coming in. It's Lewis who makes the catch. And that's the second out.
And after that leadoff walk, 2 big back-to-back outs. I believe on back-to-back pitches right there by Mara.
First pitch is a strike.
Another nice off-speed pitch right there.
Up and in, 1-2. Here's the 1-2 to Malik Collymore, and he swings and misses. Strike 3, way in front of the breaking ball. Adam Mara, another good inning of work for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Jesse Hodges is going to stand in. The first at-bat that he had after he made an incredible throw from the outfield. Guelph Royals had the bases loaded. They got a single, 1 run scored, but Jesse Hodges cut the second down at the plate to make it 2 outs and 2 on. And now he hits one down the line, fair ball. Jesse Hodges speeding around first base. He's going to glide into second with a leadoff double.
And not only does Hodges getting on help the Leafs, but we will get to see one more Jose Vinicio at bat this inning.
Yep, and that's significant. I almost feel bad because I feel like we haven't mentioned this hit streak very often. We mention it every now and then, but I think it's been a while.
Yeah.
And of course, today is the day that we mention it. And
Of course, it's the good old Castor curse.
I feel responsible. But all of that could not matter if he were to get on base or get a hit. Oh, 1. And I mean, it's not a 100% guarantee that Benicio would come up this inning. We've seen triple plays before. So maybe we should back up on that just a little.
If we've somehow cursed it,
Yeah.
a triple play to happen, I might go buy a lottery ticket at the end of the day.
If there's nobody out, runner on second base, and the guy in the on-deck circle ends up being the third out, that would be pretty
Not
unlikely.
good.
Yeah, that would look bad on us. 1-2. Outside 2-2. Oh, I mentioned the streak to some of his teammates too before the game. This is probably actually on me. 2-2. On the ground. And it eats up the shortstop, Claudio Custodio, and everyone is safe. It's first and third with nobody out.
He's on deck.
Yeah, this would be a unique triple play. I think it's pretty unlikely. Jesse Hodges is on third. Greg Carrington is on first. The Maple Leafs have jumped on Ben Reed in this outing. 13 strikes, just 6 balls. And they jump on him again here, but this one's going to be in the air and caught by Chris Robinson. Here comes the run at home plate, and the ball is chopped by Brandon Keys. Jesse Hodges scores. Well, that would have been some revenge in the outfield there from Chris Robinson after Jesse Hodges got thrown out on that exact same play. But that ball was in time and on line, but Brandon Keys just couldn't quite hold on to it at that play at third. So here's Jose Vinicio. 0 for 4 today.
You don't say that too often.
No. 7-1 Maple Leafs. First pitch, this one's popped up, and it's in play at third base and caught by Malik Collymore. In all likelihood, that's going to end the streak for Jose Vinicio. Meanwhile, we have a mound visit. Nobody warming up in the Guelph Royals bullpen. And I think there might be a position player coming in to pitch for the Guelph Royals.
Custodio.
Claudio Custodio is coming on in.
Okay, so technically a position player, but Claudio Custodio also may be the best pitcher in the Intercounty Baseball League. Well, he's going to get warmed up. This could take a couple minutes, and we'll have more on Claudio Custodio because there's a lot to talk about in just a couple minutes. So Claudio Custodio is into the game here to face Justin Mara. And the first pitch is down low. We're not really sure why he's coming into the game. It could be an availability of pitchers thing for the Guelph Royals. Claudio Custodio is pitching on 4 days rest technically here out of the bullpen as Mara fouls this one off. He's appeared in 4 games. He started all of them this year. In fact, this is the first time since 2017 that Claudio Custodio has pitched in relief. Each of the last 2 seasons, Custodio has pitched in the starting role every single outing, playoffs or regular season. Line drive to center field, coming over and making a really nice catch is Ashton Patterson, and that's going to end the inning. 7-1 Maple Leafs. They get a sacrifice fly, and Jesse Hodges scores off that Connor Lewis knock into left field. Now. Pitch is over the outside corner. That was filthy. Strike 3 called. Really talented pitcher, and he has good stuff. Really good stuff. Over the outside corner for a strike. That's 4 consecutive strikes now from Alvarado. Breaking ball just missed inside.
That was a filthy breaking ball. That's how you know it's a good, again.
Oh
my Lord.
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball, inside corner, strike 3 call. That's here at the broadcast booth. Here's the pitch, strike 3 called. Well, Janice Alvarado strikes out the side. So just one more from you. We saw Alvarado have a tough outing this first one. That fastball's pretty fast and that slider's pretty good. Can you tell us what those pitches look like from your perspective?
Yeah, they are really good. I mean, that's a guy that we're lucky to have on the team now. His fastball is really good, and he uses it effectively, right? So when he's pounding the fastball, he's hitting the zone, he's getting ahead of guys. It just makes that slider all that more effective. So I'm glad to see he's kind of turning around. That first outing was a bit shaky, but you cut a guy some slack. He's coming off a plane. He's a long flight. He's getting used to the hitters, but it's going to be good for us for sure.
Well, the Toronto Maple Leafs are trying to get back to their 3rd IBL finals in a row, but, well, they've came just a game short in each of the last 2 years. Toronto Maple Leafs have played the London Majors each of the last 2 years, and the London Majors have won. And if you're looking at the Maple Leafs team this year, you see them slightly below 500, and you see them in 4th place, you think, oh, well, they're not going back to the IBL finals. Well, last year, the Maple Leafs finished 4th. The year before that, the Maple Leafs finished 2nd, and they were only 2 games out of 4th place in the IBL standings. So this is familiar territory for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this territory has led them to the IBL finals each of the last 2 years.
Yeah, and we've talked about it throughout the entirety of the season, but this team, it just feels like they've yet to fully click as a unit. We've seen the pitching click when the hitting was off. We saw the hitting click when the pitching was off. We've yet to see the full team as a unit click, and I think that's the scary part with the playoffs rolling around.
So we have a pinch hitter into the game here. Mike Sassetto is at the plate. Hitting 196 this season. Vinicio takes a tough hop. Flips to first for out number 1. Chris Nagorski into the game for the Maple Leafs. Enters with an ERA of 6.17 and 11 2/3 innings pitched. You need 10 innings to qualify for the postseason roster. Chris Nagorski has completed that. But the Maple Leafs still have a bit of work to do on their postseason roster. A couple guys. Dustin Richardson, we're waiting on confirmation. There could be something with the injury that Dustin Richardson has sustained that might help him out with that, but he is 5 outs away, basically, from being able to pitch in the playoffs as it stands. And then another guy who looks like he's going to be an important piece and pretty much has to be an important piece in the Maple Leafs bullpen is Evan Elliott, who also has 8 1/3 innings pitched, who will need to pitch just a little bit more.
He's actually over there throwing in the bullpen.
I knew he was going to be over there when I looked over, yeah. So he may come in and get an out here, but we'll see. This one's popped up, and it's out of play. The 3-batter minimum is not a rule in the Intercounty Baseball League. So he could come in to get a little bit of work, I guess. On the ground, Dan Mara throws to first in time. Looks like Chris Nagorski is going to try and finish out this ball game.
Now batting left fielder number 19, Chris Robinson.
Sure.
Chris Nagorski, the former Guelph Royal, way back in the 2013, 2012, and 2010 season. And maybe before that. I don't have the history book on that. But with the Barrie Baycats from a stretch between 2014 and 2018. And, well, if you're a Barrie Baycats fan or you've been watching the Intercounty Baseball League over the last 10 years or so, you'll know that there's a lot of championship teams in that era for Chris Nagorski. 1-0. Up high. Guelph Royals down to their final out here in the bottom of the ninth. Top of the ninth. 1-1 is low, in there for a strike. Caught the bottom of the strike zone. Chris Robinson 0 for 2 today. Pitch well outside, 2-2. Two from Nagorski. In there for strike 3 called to get Chris Robinson looking, and the Maple Leafs get the tiebreaker over the Guelph Royals and stave off the push for 4th place that Guelph had going over the last 10 games or so, but it's not quite over yet. They'll need one more win to officially secure that spot. And the Guelph Royals will keep on pushing here down the stretch, but this is a big win for the Maple Leafs as they take it 7-1.
Yeah, huge. And you see at the bottom of the screen right there, the 4th place is guaranteed home advantage in that first round of the IBL playoffs. That would be huge for the Maple Leafs. And, you know, one win away from clinching it away. This was a big game for them.
They have 2 games that haven't been played yet. Those will happen over the next 2 days on Monday and Tuesday, and they could be big for the Toronto Maple Leafs depending on what happens here with the Guelph Royals, but they'll be happy to get the tiebreaker here this afternoon. From myself, Thomas West, as well as Zach Benoit and our whole crew here at Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball, have a great rest of your day.